Yeah, me, Leo,
You're
Andrew,
hilarious.
and Lucas kind of went.
Sit here for an hour on the phone, like it's just not great. But it's almost over, so
It's not the same. It's not the same.
it's not the same.
I know. I'm gonna send you guys. Oh, here's Chris.
Chris is here.
Yeah. Hey, Chris.
I'm going to send you my garden picture after the rain is over.
All right.
Okay. Laura, I don't know if you can do it on your phone or not, but I've video chatted on my phone before also.
Yeah, I can, and I actually even switched phone carriers so I could get data to do that, but I don't get very good 4G service at my house, so it cuts in and out.
You can get some WhatsApp, get the WhatsApp. That's free, and then you can do the video chat.
Yeah,
she
but
doesn't have
free,
my internet connection for my phone is not very good where I live.
I know.
So,
you have to go to Starbucks or something.
Yeah, I live a half an hour from any major area that has anything. So
that's why your cellular
not
service
happening.
isn't working.
I know.
But you can use WhatsApp even if you don't have internet. You can even use it in the car. Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's on your wireless network.
I do. I talk to India when I'm driving.
I know, but it still is using your wireless carrier. I mean, you could try it. WhatsApp uses your carrier's cellular.
You can talk. You can do video chat. Everything. That's what I did with North Dakota. I had elementary teacher, intern, and I always make a WhatsApp because sometimes it's hard to get Zoom. And then she used her phone, and I do WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
I could look into it.
Yeah, I guess it can't hurt.
Just explore some of the possibilities. You may be able to talk.
Okay.
Well, I'll post. I took it took me probably 7 minutes to walk all over. I went really slow and held my camera low, kind of from a child's perspective. And I didn't even do the primary classrooms have adjacent yards, but I didn't go in there. The yard is, so I'll post those in the community forum, and I'm bummed because I really would love for you guys to see. I didn't look. Maybe they did post it, but there's a really awesome video about Froebel and his gifts and what they actually look like. I have to admit that I didn't do my homework as good as I should have this weekend.
There's no video
but there's
that on there.
So that's the thing I found most mind-blowing because I'd never heard of Froebel, right? I'd never heard of him before 5 years ago, and my husband was like, hey, check this out. And we watched this video that was Froebel's gifts, and I was like, wow. That it is impossible to deny that his work influenced Dr. Montessori. I was like, oh, Maria, really? Because the gifts say.
Yeah, you could tell on the some of the presentations, she got a lot of that from him.
It really seems that way. So I'll find the video that we watched. I think it's just called Froebel's Gifts. But they are so powerful, especially because you can really see how Montessori drew from those ideas and built upon them. And but anyway, I was excited to see his inclusion in this week's topic. I think that it's really uncommon, honestly, for Montessorians to even look at other child development theorists. So I think it's great that we're kind of taking a deeper dive into kind of what else has come before and, since Montessori.
That seems crazy that
Doesn't
most
it?
Montessorians don't think about the people that came before her, because there were people before her and then people, colleagues of hers. And I mean, let's be realistic. She couldn't possibly come up with everything on her own. She's only human. So you have to pull from other people too. But I don't know.
Well, and a good scientist is aware of and can summarize the science around them for them. You know, that's important information when you're developing your own hypothesis. So
any researcher, they always go through the history of the
lit review,
particularly on that particular topic, and that's how they continue doing the research.
Right.
That's the process. Actually, it's a whole process.
I wasn't, honestly, when we started this part of the module, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about learning about all these people. Like, I was like, this is going to be boring. But then I actually found it really fascinating.
Why did you think it was going to be boring?
I don't know, because like
history.
I'm not always a big fan of history. Yep, that's the truth. So I was just like, oh, I don't know about this. But and then I remembered how much I enjoy like psychology, and especially I took an intro to child psychology class in college, and I was like, this is pretty cool. So I just remembered how much I liked it and how interesting I found it, which was nice.
Yeah, I think it's interesting in the timeline how we're talking about what's going on during that time period too, like getting some context. I find it difficult to fill out my timeline, but it's good to give it sort of to give you more information about what was going on and how
there's not enough space on the timeline.
Influenced, right.
I'm like, I should have really like gone into Excel and made this a little bigger for myself, but
overachiever. No, I'm just kidding.
That's totally me, right? No, but there wasn't quite enough space to write in it. It was very tiny.
Oh, I did mine in Word, so it just expanded as I wrote.
Did you? Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I didn't. It's easier for me to take notes handwriting while watching than typing, so I preferred it that way. But I
end up like cutting and pasting as I take notes during the videos. I just cut and paste into the timeline. So.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Chris.
All right, overachiever.
No, I'm just trying to make it efficient.
I was talking to both of you, actually. Just kidding.
Chris,
no, I love
it.
Say
something?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't about that, actually.
We can move on.
I mean, it was about the video. I thought it was really awesome the way that they were, Terry was saying, look at them, like she's worried about when they were dropping her off at the university and stuff and how they were dressed and like the period of time that was what was going on there. So here we are worried about our kids getting organic everything, and they were worried about like not teaching the kids the wrong thing because the king was going to persecute them for something, you know? So it was just put things in perspective of like, really my furniture, even though it has many coats of paint on it, it's the right size and I really shouldn't complain about it. At least we're not an underground Montessori trying to, you know, hide the teachings of whatever we're teaching the kids from people so we're not persecuted. So that was my thoughts on this.
Well, and to know that people did it anyway, that they knew that they were going to be like really messed up, like that their lives were going to, that you could disappear in the middle of the night or worse. And that they did it anyway, that they still felt
in it so much that
I know
they thought that it was such the right thing to do that
I know,
you know, like here we are arguing, or not arguing, but like trying to stand up against the state about having potty chairs or, you know, like something like that, and they are worried about, like you said, getting snatched in the middle of the night. So I should have enough guts to stand up to the state people. Right. Like, this is the reason why I believe that we should do it this way, you know? So,
because they're at least not going to disappear you in the middle of the night. they may shut you down, but they'll let you live.
You said Ann?
Is that you, Ann, or Rashani?
Yeah, that's me. It's Ann.
Ann. All right. I'll rename you. All right.
Thank
Welcome. You. Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible how, the full, educators kind of built upon one another, and kind of, and the other thing that I was going to say when we're talking about timelines, and I know I sent you the timeline, but I didn't look at it that super closely, but a lot of, I feel like conversation stops with Montessori. Like we might look at like what came before her, but then and then there was Montessori, and then we were good, and then nothing else needed to come after her. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I think there's still things to learn. I mean, we can take her ideas and expand upon them, not create our own, but.
That's crazy talk, Chris.
I think by them, the things that she said back then are becoming major research ideas now.
Yeah.
And is it because a lot of traditionalists shunned her?
I think that there was a real effort. I actually thought that it was John Dewey who just trashed her in the United States. Like Montessori had some momentum. Alexander Graham Bell was behind her. Edison was starting to set up schools, and John Dewey came along and was like, no, we're really trashed her. They went out of their way to like it had to do with the play base, as you read, like John Dewey was primarily, play base, and that they couldn't find a way to like draw a parallel to Montessori. I'll find, there's actually a really good article about how, Montessori was basically just like eliminated, blackballed, like just trashed in the United States, and the momentum just.
And he didn't even call her Dr. Montessori, right? He called her Madam Montessori or something.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, to like not even acknowledge her doctorate. That's fascinating.
Well,
does Dewey have a connection? Does Dewey have a connection to Waldorf? Like I would think if he was very play-based, there must be some sort of connection there.
I don't know.
That just popped in my head.
No? Steiner wasn't one of the philosophers that we studied either. I actually thought it was interesting that Steiner was absent, and so was, although maybe these were specifically theorists that informed Montessori, but in terms of like contribution to education, Steiner schools are still they're way more popular than Montessori schools in Europe. So they really sustained, even though I don't know that much about Steiner or Waldorf, but what I know that the similarity between Steiner and Waldorf is like, that they both were constructivist thinkers. They believed in the profound work that the child undertook to construct themselves, but Steiner, and they both have a deep respect for the child, right? But Steiner kind of, there's some really kind of out there, I feel like, ideas, like it's based on this like religion of anthroposophy. He like made it up, and there's like literally you gotta stir the whatever with the cedar bough counterclockwise 14 times, like that kind of a thing. And I'm not really and there there's like this dance program that they do called Eurythmy. So there's like it's a little out there. I can send you something about Waldorf. Well, but I don't think that because Dewey's an American. I feel like Waldorf
that was a European thing.
Yeah.
I have a coworker who actually studied Waldorf. She was either going to do Waldorf or Montessori. She went with Montessori, but it's interesting that you said that the deep respect for the child is there, because I I feel like the good intentions are there in Waldorf, but there's a lot in Waldorf where it's like with children under a certain age, like you're not allowed to move past like pretend play. Like that's all you're allowed to do. And to me, that's deeply disrespectful. Like they literally do not let children learn what their sensitive periods are telling them they need to do, you know? So that's crazy for me. But anyways, we don't need to talk about Waldorf because we're Montessori. So
it's good to know, I guess, how,
I just wondered.
I don't think so. I think that Dewey's kind of like when we look at like traditional education in the United States, like if you were to go to whatever college and get an early childhood education degree, like Dewey would be that, like the foundation of that.
I have an early childhood education degree.
You do? Well,
I don't remember his name.
I also do.
You do? So was that, I mean, do you think that Dewey is kind of like the main pedagogue?
No, we learned about everything, and actually, I feel like my professors could have been, I guess, more knowledgeable about Montessori because I was an assistant in Montessori, and whenever we got to the Montessori part, they said, "Okay, Shelby, tell us about Montessori." And I said, I'm not Montessori trained, but I can do a little bit. And I feel like they tried to incorporate all of the philosophies, and what they really were focused on, though, were things like running records and just things like that. And actually, when I became a public school teacher, none of that even helped me. Because of what I was instructed to do by my principal, who was instructed by
the superintendent.
To do that had nothing to do with what my kids were even doing. So now I'm back in Montessori.
Yeah, I remember doing a lot of stuff with Dewey, but I was like K6. So I wasn't really early childhood at that time, but I remember doing an awful lot with just like studying that. Like I remember that name is like ingrained in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I probably did. I just don't really, I don't know.
Well,
apparently I didn't retain the information because it didn't really seem that important to me. I don't know.
We learned a lot about... Sorry.
I was just going to say, I started working at a Montessori school while I was still getting my early childhood certification. So I guess maybe I just didn't really take it to heart.
Sometimes it takes a few times too. Sorry, go ahead.
Learn about brain development and psychology, and also about some of the sensitive periods in the fact that they don't understand abstract ideas and symbols. But then when you go into a kindergarten classroom where I live, they will be teaching abstract ideas and symbols. So it wasn't, that's why I said it didn't really relate to what was going on in the school system.
Actually, in the kindergarten, you don't get the abstract one. You get in the elementary grade. When you go to the elementary grade, that's when you get the abstract one. Kindergarten, actually, when you go to the early childhood, that's your sensitive period changes from unconscious to conscious.
Right. I just feel like you shouldn't teach a 5-year-old how to tell time.
Yeah.
I guess
that isn't that a traditional Montessori material though, a didactic material in the 3 to 6 classroom? Is
right.
The I mean, I see the clock in there. I think that it is an abstract concept, and I've wondered. I don't know, like how often it is even used in the early childhood classrooms.
In the early childhood classroom, the clock is for the math material.
So it's like addition and subtract. It's not like about
it's a different, totally different.
Telling the time.
Yes.
And it doesn't. I mean, Marie Montessori makes those abstract concepts more concrete with the tutorial materials. You know, they're there's things to manipulate that.
Yeah, it is also connected with the. Yes.
Yeah.
And there are materials that overlap from like a lower elementary class and a primary class.
Yeah, same thing.
For the most part, the primary teachers.
Early childhood classroom materials also overlaps. You have to overlap it because the age that we are taking is 3 to 6 and then 6 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some children who are 6+ or six, just materials. And sometimes, you know, what happens is there is no concrete rules and regulation that you have to have these materials. The materials actually depends on the level of the development of the child. You have to start your curriculum where the child is. So that's why sometimes you have to bring early childhood materials to the elementary classroom. And I had, like, in the upper elementary classroom, I had lower elementary materials because my children, some of the children were not ready for it. And they needed more material practice. And then they moved on to the next level. So it needs that.
And that's what I love about Montessori.
Exactly. That's why we have mixed age group also, so that the children can grow according to their level of development. They don't have to be like 3 years old, you're going to do this.
Right.
Sometimes 3 years old are doing 4 years old work, and 5 years old are doing 4 years old work. So that happens.
So when I was teaching in the 3 to 6 year old class too, not all of my kids were going into a Montessori school. So I had to adapt my curriculum a little bit so that those kids that were going into public school knew some of those things too. So, I mean, clocks are all over in the world, and people don't understand that the kids don't have that knowledge yet, or don't have the ability to tell that. But wouldn't you use the clock for, I guess this is not 3 to 6 year old discussion, but wouldn't you use that for like an introduction of like numbers and counting, and couldn't you use it
Clocks can be using for cultural studies and math studies. You can use it for all different areas. Depends on where the child is.
How do you use a clock for the cultural study?
In the cultural studies, the timeline, because in early childhood classroom, the children make their own timelines with the calendars, with their developmental growth, how they are progressing, all this, they make the timelines. And clock is very helpful for the timelines. And so the clock material that they have, it's the concrete material. And they're learning the time is passing. And it starts, the unit is, even if they're 3 years old, they used to do this kind of work. 4 years, when they become 4 years, they did this kind of work. And the clock is the unit one for the whole time. So you coming, like when we do study in Montessori, actually, we study the whole thing first, and then you go to the center, the unit one. So that's how clock is used, all in different ways, depending on where the child is and what the child needs to learn.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I know that. Thank you. Yeah.
Each material, actually, in the Montessori classroom, like Pink Tower. Pink Tower, they're using for sensor.
Hello?
And yeah, they do. Because
I think I'm still here.
The 1 cubic centimeter, how many 1 cubic centimeter is making the big tower? So you were talking about the cube.
Right.
So it goes all the way to the elementary, actually. You can use it. It's really
just one more thing. I have to ask. So the only time that I've ever seen children make any kind of timeline in the in the early childhood classroom is when they have a birthday and they make a timeline.
Yeah, they do the birthday too,
right.
Yes.
But what other timelines can do children do?
They do the calendar.
We've never done the calendar. Okay, tell me more. Sorry, can you just tell me real quick?
I used a timeline.
I'm missing some of the words because of the internet connection.
I know. I know. No, I'm just taking notes. So I know this is a digression, but I'm gonna circle back. Sorry, Chris, what were you saying? You did.
I used the timeline for like when we studied the solar system. So I know there's a lot of different theories out there, but how you can show them how like the solar system is the Big Bang theory kind of, and made it into a timeline for that, of like, this is what happened here, and then here, and then here, and I made it a work on the shelf as we were talking about it.
Interesting.
Like, there's a book that that I don't want to say dumbs it down, but it gives really good references, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was like when a solar system was born. So it talks about how you were born and how you came out into the light, and like the solar system was born, and it, then there was a big light, and how things progressed from there. So just incorporating that into like our circle time. Now I'm talking to 3 to 6 year old class, not my
No,
class.
I know, but it's just interesting to me. I mean, because I feel like the like children are all, even, I mean, the toddlers are building their timelines, their personal timelines every day, and that's why consistency is important, right? Because we're so that they can construct that order and construct those timelines. But just something about this conversation really kind of sparked an interest. So thank you for indulging me.
I use their pictures for their birthday circle in a timeline in our toddler class, and I have them bring a picture, and we do like just a very simple birthday circle of how the earth goes around the sun, and not like it's not very complex. That's about the only thing. When you were born, you look like this. When you were 1, you look like this.
Right.
And so I keep those pictures, and we have a place where we can put them up on the wall of like, look at Joseph when he was a baby, and when he was 1, and when he was 2. So, I mean, it's the very beginning. But
you know what might be what do you think about, I just thought of this listening to you talk, like having the parents send pictures of their child, like pictures at birth, and then at 3 months, and then at 6 months, and then at 10, like at like kind of those big and then put it out as work on the shelf, and have the children put it in order from you know what I'm saying, like they do like lighting a candle or turning on a faucet, or like those different sequence cards. There you go. That would be fun. I'm going to do that.
Parents send the picture of when the child first started crawling after the birth.
So like marking
all the milestone, they send it, and then the teacher makes the whole timeline for that child. Same thing, the early childhood children, they bring their own and they make their own.
So I've also used the pictures that we have the kids bring pictures of themselves, and I take pictures of themselves, but their families. So I also have I make it on the wall a family tree, and then or a classroom tree, and then put their family pictures on there, and then I make a color copy of a laminated one, and they can match the pictures onto the tree, and then we use it as a matching game or memory game. And we use the family pictures a lot for different things like that.
That's
or
cool.
I've done where you cut them apart and make puzzles out of them, so you can put them together.
Cool.
I used to do that, like when the children started using the pencil, and they just scribbling, and then I used to take pictures when they first did that, and then they first started writing one sound, like that kind of thing, and then you can make a timeline and put the date there with their picture, and then that could be a present for their parents, and take it home at the end of the year. How the writing skill developed.
Yeah. That would be good action research too, because then you kind of could see when children are starting to pick up the pencil, and when, and maybe even correlate it to 3 weeks after I gave this lesson, this started happening. Anyway. And a new child development theory was born.
It's the second age of enlightenment. All
Right?
these geniuses.
That's right.
There's
Totally.
so many Montessorian, they will be creating so many things, and eventually you will see how the Montessori, the whole method, the pedagogy is going to change with advantage of technology and all the stuff. New generation will create something new.
Well, I certainly think that I mean, let's hope that these kids can figure things out for us. So who? Hi, Eugenia and Rashani. That's you, right, on the phone?
Yes, that's me. Yes, it is.
All right. So well, so I guess there were two. Well, three, right? Three modern influences on education that that we talked about, right? So Piaget and Vygotsky and Gardner. Have you read like The Five Minds of the Future? Has anyone read that? I have to be honest, I never read any books, but I did read that. What's that? You did it?
I am not even there yet.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I read it a few years ago. I feel like I watched a TED Talk and was like, oh, I'm going to read this book. And I read it and it was really accessible, but it makes a lot of sense, right? That there's the multiple intelligences theory. Did that resonate with anybody?
What was it? The Five Minds of the Future?
The Five Minds of the Future, yeah. But it was Howard Gardner was the theorist is Howard Gardner.
So when I was reading some of those, and one of them is like musical. What is it called? The one that has to do with the one intelligence has. Anyways, that's one of them, right? I'm not like confusing something. Okay. So there's this little girl who just started in my class, and she's like obsessed with music, like more than any other child I've ever had in my class. And like everything she hears, she'll like find a rhythm to. It's really pretty cool. Like some friends were just like banging on our metal train outside, and she found the steady rhythm and started dancing. And she seeks out music when she's feeling upset, and it's like really that steady rhythm calms her and helps her self-soothe. And I was just like, kind of seems like that might be her saying, like that's, I don't know. I thought that was cool that I was able to sort of connect that. But
well, I think I think that's a great observation, right? To be able to identify that sensitivity in the children, and then support it, right? Yeah. But I love, like, I feel like our American like culture like really has, we place like value on like what kind, like a specific kind of achievement and a specific kind of way of thinking about things. And for someone to come and like say, well, actually there's a lot of different ways up the mountain, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, this one way. And now, actually, I don't know about where you live, but we're, well, I think nationally we have this like shortage of automotive repair mechanics, right? And like plumbers and journeyman electrician, like tradespeople. And so because for so long there's been such a value placed on academia and academic learning, and so people are going to four-year schools and getting
instead of
trade school because there's this like idea that like, oh, that's a better endeavor. It means you're smarter, you contribute more. And
but if you
we're going to be in trouble if we don't have people who can fix the cars. Sorry, go ahead.
If you think about how much we pay the people that do, like there is money to be made in those professions, and those people know stuff. Like,
well, and
the
like
thing is, I mean, it's not just because they're not doctors doesn't mean anything. Like, to me, that just seems crazy because I think about how I do see how people sort of like put down people in those types of positions. But then I'm like, you do realize you just paid them like hundreds of dollars to come to your house and fix your furnace. Even though apparently they're not as smart as you, like they just make more money in an hour than you make all day. Like I don't know.
I feel that way about like the wonderful women who do my nails too. I love them. Oh my God. I mean, for real though, like they should make that money. But also like the idea that you can't enjoy that kind of work, that work does not, it can't bring you like a personal sense of satisfaction, that like taking apart an engine or seeing how things work or solving like a complicated problem, that's somehow unsatisfying, or that, you know, you need someone's permission to be satisfied by that work, regardless of, you know, the money to be made, which is never gonna hurt. Can you imagine if we made that kind of money? Just pay me as good as the garbage collectors. You know, that's all I want.
Yeah. I tend to.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Leslie. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, my husband is a welder by trade, and he was pretty much self-taught, and he worked for the same company for, oh my gosh, like 12 years now. He works for an independent contractor, and like in my previous career, I mean, like crazy money. But now it's just crazy to me that there's such a difference in like trained people versus all these people that I work with that have like bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, or specialized training. And even if we break it down on an hourly scale, like the difference is just, it's like a crazy difference in like an hourly rate and salary. Now they don't always have like the same benefits, but then my school doesn't have any, so
that's crazy to me.
There's just a huge difference.
So tell me again, what does your husband do? What's his occupation?
He's a welder by trade.
A welder. So like,
yeah, he does like structural steel.
Cool.
Primarily. I mean, they do other things too,
I kind of see welding in the it's like an applied art almost. You know, right? I mean, like I feel like welding's kind of in that bucket where you got to be one with, like it's an intense skill.
So yeah, and it's really hard.
I can imagine.
You can pass them along.
So yeah, I mean, he totally deserves it. But it is like, it's just crazy when growing up, there was just like this huge push for everyone to get degrees, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I mean, it's like there's just a crazy difference in income and like job availability, and there's just so many differences.
Well, I mean, education's not valued, or early childhood education, until education is a constitutionally guaranteed right, like in terms of an amendment in the federal, in our Constitution. It's going to be problematic because states can administer education in whatever way they see fit, or whatever, whoever. So. It's,
we can't hear you. I can't hear you.
You guys can't hear me?
Cannot hear you.
I hear you.
I don't know what happened to it.
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. I can so much better.
Well, I could try taking
weren't as loud as you were.
Rashani was going to say something. I mean, she got cut up, right? Hello, Rashani.
Yes, I said I couldn't hear you.
Speak, Mercedes.
Oh, I know. I'm looking to see.
I know I have internet problems, so I'm getting cut up most of the time, but still I'm trying to catch up.
So your volume just went down, Mercedes.
Is the problem my headphones? Is it easy? Can you hear
can hear
you sound loud and clear now.
All right. Well, I'll just take
I think that with all that talk about the trades and the mechanics and all that, it's really important to have those things in our classroom, even if we don't understand it or we don't have the confidence. But I know that we have a little boy that loves to take apart things, and he just wants to know how it works. But I wasn't comfortable with him taking apart the materials or the things. So I brought in like a flashlight that didn't work, and he took it all apart. And so I just really think it's important, even if we don't, like, I don't understand a lot of things, like how a car engine works. I wish I could, because then I can fix it. But catering, or like putting those resources into our environment so that we can create children, or spark their interest in things, so that, because a lot of times, not a lot of times, but sometimes I think I get stuck on the academics, or like they should be this, or being able to put their shoes on or whatever, instead of, I'm in summer mode, and like some people, and I'm just really frustrated with some people, because I'm like, just leave him alone. He's fine. Like, and they're like, no, we need to be doing this right now. And it's like, no, you're interrupting his concentration on tearing apart a flashlight, so you could tell him that he has to go ride his bike outside because you think it's fun for him. He's really having fun tearing apart the flashlight, which is okay. So, I mean, just reminding myself of, even though I don't feel comfortable or confident in certain things, that I still need to have those in my classroom so that the children can explore with them. Yeah. Who knows, if I might be, one of my kids in my class might be a welder one day, or a mechanic.
And actually, again, we are coming back to the same point, that we are preparing the environment according to the needs of the children. If a child needs to do that, we have to have that in the classroom.
Or a plumber. I have lots of kids that like to play in the toilet, so.
That's right. You can make money.
No, well, we do have, like, not in my classroom, but the classroom that is next. We are separated by a kitchen, and they do have a problem with their toilet. I think somebody has put something down it, but it's really funny because one of my kids is like, Andrea has the snake, and she can see her walking through the yard with it, and he's like just so fascinated that you could put this thing down the toilet, and so he'll watch for as long as it takes her to like unwind the thing, goes all the way down the pipe, and he just loves it. But we, on the other hand, are like, something's wrong with, I'm sure one of the children has shoved something down it, but you never know, he might be a plumber.
That's hilarious.
Who are we to limit them, right?
Exactly. No, I think I have wished that I lived with a plumber many a time. So.
Every time my son uses the bathroom at school, I have to hold open the back of the toilet while he flushes it so he can watch all the parts move and do their thing. And then he's like, okay. And then we close it and he leaves. But he's like, I want to watch.
I have another boy that I feel bad for him because sometimes he gets stuck in the kitchen, which I don't ever think. I don't like summer care. Did I say it again? Anyways, so I was unloading the dishwasher yesterday, and he was with me, and he was like looking at the wheels on the bottom of the dishwasher rack. I mean, he was helping me put away the stuff, but he was like, there's wheels on it. I was like, he was just trying to figure out how, and he was pushing it in and pulling it out and pushing it in and pulling it out. Somebody else is like, what is he doing? I'm like, he's looking at the wheels and how they're going on the track. Leave him alone. So I mean, I knew there was wheels and it went on a track, but it wasn't really exciting to me, but it was exciting to him. And he was just like, it has wheels. It has 2 wheels on this side. It has 2 wheels on that side. Go to the lower one and look at the lower one.
He just invented it.
Yeah. So yeah, who are we to interrupt them?
Right.
Did you guys catch that just going back to Fribble, I forgot to mention this. What did you think about, I think this is a discussion question, the idea that his materials were gifts and that they called them occupations? Doesn't that sound like work? Anyway. I just feel like that's so sweet, you know, to think of your lessons as gifts. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think because when you have the right gift for that specific child, like, you really are giving them a gift by presenting something to them that fulfills that need and that interest. That's a gift because it just means so much to them. And then you see them use it over and over and over and over and over again. And it just really, like, they light up when they see it because there's something compelling about it and captivating. And, like, if someone gives you a gift, it's special. It's meaningful. I think that's pretty cool.
And to watch them feel how proud they are when they accomplish it. I mean, when you give a lesson or you teach them how to put the clothes on and they can do it by themselves. There was another boy, I've been showing him how to put sunscreen on and rub it in, and he was so excited that he could do it. I'll do it by myself. I'll do it by myself. And he was so proud that he could do that.
You don't need a cupcake today, my love.
So, like, in turn, you're giving them the knowledge to be a successful member of their little society, you know, because then he's going to be able to help the younger friends rub their sunscreen in. I mean, it seems like so something so little, but I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, we have about 10 minutes. Does anyone have like any issues that are happening in the classroom that they want to unpack, or any specific issue from the material that you want to talk about?
Did anybody have any trouble with the links?
Like, I didn't.
I lost
yeah,
you.
Some of them I couldn't open them. I had to go to Chrome only to open them.
Maybe.
You know what? I only use Chrome. I only ever use Chrome now. So
yeah. That's what I use too. So
well,
I'm
on Chrome. Yeah, I'm using Chrome.
Well,
I had some issues with some of the videos.
Yeah. What do you mean?
They just don't buffer fast enough. And a lot of those ones you couldn't, some of them you can watch at a lower bit rate, but these ones you couldn't. It was the only, I think maybe because it was like a Zoom chat video that they were, I don't know, it made it tricky to.
You're probably right that there's something about it being the way that it's recording, like the way that I'm recording this, you know, video or whatever.
Yeah.
It's no HD.
No, it's not.
I like to hear the conversation back and forth between Terry and I can't remember her name. Elaine? No.
Vicky?
Vicky.
Yeah.
But I would really love to be able to watch those videos. I looked for one of them on YouTube. Because
I would watch the whole video.
The guy was speaking in Italian. I was like, what is he saying? I want to know all of it. But
which videos are you specifically referring to? I'll see if I can read them.
The ones that, well, first of all, the one of Maria Montessori, that would have been really fun to watch the whole thing.
I don't think that it's been translated. Are you talking about the one in Italian?
Yeah.
Vicky was translating it as it went.
Yeah, as she was. Yeah.
That's nice to have.
Because I'm
she did.
Nerd, and I really love to watch that.
Again, I know Leslie mentioned wanting to have a copy of these PowerPoints. I really want these PowerPoints.
I know. I
because there was so much information on them.
Yeah, it would really save us from writing all that down.
Everything, yeah.
And I've had to replay the videos to catch things because I can't read the PowerPoint.
Right.
Because of the photos.
It takes a lot more time. Yeah.
My videos, like every time, like I'll watch part of it and then stop it, and then watch part of it and then stop it, and then after like 4 times, then you have to go back in there, reload the video,
yes, that's what happens.
write everything down.
You know,
It's so frustrating.
maybe I can find her directly. Like maybe I can just ask her. I don't know her, but I'll
You need to get to know her, Miss.
I don't know her.
Be friends.
Leslie said, get to know her.
Get to know her. Hey, the link I'm having trouble with is a second look at MI, the neuromyths of the classroom.
I couldn't get that one either.
I'm gonna start again.
A second look at MI.
Yeah, a second look at MI.
Is that from this week, week 6?
Yep.
Yeah, it gives you some kind of error.
Yeah, error 404.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see it. I'm looking here. Oh, there. Second look at MI. Okay. Yeah. I'm on it. I'm on the case. And I will also reiterate our request for Vicki to use PowerPoints.
That'd be great.
And I'll see if I can internet stalk her a little bit. I did, you know what? I emailed Jan Katzen and asked her about next Sunday, like a week and a half ago. Remember, Dabika?
Oh, yeah.
I emailed her. She never responded. So I will also follow up with Jan Katzen.
Well, if we have a chat with her, is it going to be like required to go to attend, or just if you want to?
I asked her if she could do it on August 19th at 4 p.m. her time, which would make it like 7 p.m. for you guys East Coasters. So I thought that was kind of the thing that would be the best for most people. So,
did anybody try to take the picture of the PowerPoint?
Oh,
did you try that, the one I was talking about? Did you?
Yeah, but it's just every slide. She has so much information on every slide.
Yeah, so you can just her about that's whenever you see that it is really helpful. I did that, like this. I'll show you. I have it here, and then you can save it. Can you see it? Can you see it?
I can see that. So those are you've taken screenshots of the
right, the PowerPoint. Yes.
Okay.
You can do that. I did that in the tablet, but one I did in the phone. I'll show you. And it's so helpful. When you are missing something, you don't have to go all the way back. It's there. You just take it out and do it. I'll show you how I did it.
If I had it in PowerPoint, I could just print out 6 slides to a page.
Right, and if I had it on PowerPoint, I would delete all
like this. I started taking.
Or 3 with notes on the side.
You can see it. Let me put it this way. Can you see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's fine if it's pictures, but the writing is small, right?
Yeah, writing is small, but you can when you are transferring it to the computer, you can enlarge it because you're taking the thing. Try that.
You have to know how to do that, and I am not. The computer works against me.
No, you can do it on the phone too. You can read it on the phone.
Give me 5 minutes.
Like this one, if you want to read this, look, it's pretty simple.
I have a question about the video uploader. Is there like a specific size that is too large to like upload? Has anyone had any issues with that?
Did you try?
Always it happens.
I had the
That's
same
what
problem.
I asked my husband, and my husband is a computer specialist, and he said depending on your machine, computer, how much gigabyte the computer can actually record depends on that. Then you cannot upload or download it. So what you have to have more power of your, I don't know what power means, but I don't know the technology that good. But I know your computer has to have that kind of, machine that can download or upload. So you can make it half and half like that, something like that. But Terry is the best person. That's what I put.
Yeah, I have to ask her. I do. I
don't know. I'm sending her messages, 2-3 emails. I never got answer back, and so maybe she's so busy. She normally does that. She always returns the call right away, but she's not doing that.
I have this really beautiful video of my snack prep with my son because he's there in the morning, and it was great, and then it ended up being like 7 minutes long though because I was working with him, so I had to go really slow, and I don't know, maybe it's too big, but I don't want to make another one, so I might have to just send it to one of you guys to grade. I don't know.
You could reduce the size. Let me look. I'll look for a link, and the other workaround is to post it on YouTube and to just post it on YouTube and then send us the link.
Okay, and then I could just copy the link to the YouTube page instead of the video uploader. Oh, that's a good idea.
I know that if you can't upload it, you might not be able to email it either.
I think it's too big to send in an email.
Okay. How about you Dropbox it?
Or you could put it in a Dropbox for me. Yep.
Yeah, I could just do the YouTube link in a Dropbox. Okay.
Yeah, drop it in our
one or the other. It doesn't matter. Cool.
But best way to talk to Terry. Just
I'll talk to Terry first. Yeah.
Yeah, she will give you the good answer. She knows all these things.
Yeah, I mean, there is a way to reduce your video, but I'm not exactly sure how to do that.
Like when you're taking the video, like on my phone, I would have to reduce, like make it smaller when I'm taking.
How do you do that? I don't know.
You can compress it.
Compress it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can right click and compress.
Even the zip. You can zip it, right?
Yeah,
that's what a zip is.
I feel like
I don't know how. Sometimes you cannot even open the zip storage. That's even hard.
Oh, I have a quick question about the London lectures.
Oh my gosh!
Was there a link to purchase that? I found it at some like obscure website for $20.
I bought it from you know what? I think I bought it from NAMTA. Let me see. Maybe I bought the San Francisco lectures though. I can't remember. I haven't been keeping up with the reading, you guys.
Yeah, I don't know where to buy those either.
Okay, the Green Book has a lot of the links for the resources. I'll look for the London lectures. I have a lot of notes today.
Sorry, we're making you work hard.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll find it for you.
Okay.
And
I'll look at NAMTA.
I think so. I went big on the NAMTA videos. That's why I really would love for everyone to call in to like video in, and then I'll stop the recording and I'll show you. I have like every single NAMTA video.
No, really?
Yeah.
No, just get popcorn.
I just don't think that I should record them, but I will show them to you. I show them to all my everybody, all my teacher adult learners. Like there's a lot of good stuff. I have the whole Aid to Life series, which I recommend in terms of if you wanted to buy something to be like a springboard for your parent nights and whatnot. But like I figure it's a good place. You can at least watch them with me and then decide if it's a good investment to buy on your own. So if we can get everybody to call in, like to video in, then it would be worthwhile. But I feel bad for you guys who call in because I feel like it would be boring for you. But
are you going to the NAMTA conference?
No, no, I don't go to them anymore. I went to a couple and found them very, very. They just weren't my thing. But somebody went. There was one I feel like in Portland, and she was like, "Yeah, it was great." And I thought I found that really surprising. I think that NAMTA has kind of the same speakers. They're all Montessori teacher educators. They don't reach out really to anybody outside of Montessori. And I also live in Portland, and I can access all of the people who do training in Portland. So I felt like it was not gonna, and plus they're like $450, but I don't want to discourage you guys from going.
No, well, my director is trying to get us all to the national AMS conference in DC.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully,
AMS is much what going.
Yeah. No, go to AMS or go to IMC. Go to the Florida conference. The one in Florida is awesome. And did I tell you that they accepted my proposal finally after I have submitted like 1 million proposals to AMS, and finally I'm presenting this year. Me and Tracy Hall. Yeah, Tracy Hall and I got picked. So victory is mine.
That's nice.
Good.
Yeah.
So we'll see you there.
Yeah. It's in DC, so it's
it's DC, close to my home.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, yay, I'll see you there.
And when is it?
It's always in March.
It's normally in the March.
Right before our spring break, anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to this one.
Yeah.
Good. So
I'm totally broke, but I'm gonna tell
there.
I'm gonna tell all the parents